Hello, welcome back, and as you can see from the title of this video, we're doing Boulder Dash. Running order is going to be BBC Micro, Amstrad CPC 464, Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum. It's a classic game from back in the 8-bit system era. I don't know what else it came out on. It was probably one of those games that saw a version for more or less every system. I don't know it at all. Today's the first time I've ever played it. The BBC Micro was the very first version of it I ever played. I do like Boulder Dash style games. One of my favourite Spectrum games of all time is a very recent game actually called Tourmaline. If you haven't seen that game at all, please check it out because it is absolutely amazing. It's by Retro Souls and it was released in 2015 or 2016 I think. Absolutely brilliant game. I'll pop a link to my original video that I did of it in the box down below. It's a very old video, even worse production values than these ones, but do check that game out because it is brilliant. Now I'd like to know of any other sort of Boulder Dash clones as well for all the systems, the BBC, Amstrad, Commodore and Spectrum, that I can check out, because what I want to do is one of those games kind of like Frogger and Cuba that's got loads and loads of different sort of clone versions of it, some good, some bad, some great, and I'd like to do a separate video with all of them. Now I was playing Repton yesterday on the BBC, absolutely wonderful game. That will be included in that video, but yeah, I'd just like some suggestions from you all, please. Right, as I said, the running order is BBC Micro, Amstrad, Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum. Let's get on with it. Okay, here we go. BBC Micro version of Boulder Dash. This was released by Tynesoft, and Tynesoft have a bit of a reputation, as far as I know, from the Spectrum anyway, of releasing piles and piles of utter crap. Now you'll see on the card, we're actually playing Boulder Dash, but never mind, let's get into it. See what this is like. Now again, BBC Micro owners, please shout out with your memories of this game. I wasn't aware this version existed, just going through the card as usual, and I found it, so let's go in and try this. Right, ZX, left and right, asterisk and question mark, up and down, those are the keys. Really nice sound of music going on, lovely, wonderful sort of BB style, very pink graphics there. Right, let's get into the game. Now I've played this for about 10 minutes so far. Those of you who are familiar with Boulder Dash will know what it's all about. You control this character here, I believe he's called Rockford, and you've got to go around the various mines collecting diamonds and avoiding having boulders fall down on your head. And it's easier said than done. It controls really nicely. I really like the graphics. I like graphics on BBC Micro games anyway. But this is really quite fun to play, and like I said, BBC Micro owners, please shout out with your thoughts and memories of this particular version of the game that you had. Right, you can see up the top there, I'm up against the time limit, and I've got to collect enough diamonds so that I can eventually make my way to the exit, and then your score is calculated by how many diamonds you collected, and how quickly you completed the level, as you can see. Now, this is a really nice, simple game for me, which is a godsend. That's the kind of thing I need and enjoy. It's really good fun. The sort of Rockford character reminds me a little bit of the Thing on a Spring character from the Gremlin graphics games. Let me know if you think I'm correct there, or if I'm talking out of my backside, which has been known. Right, there's nothing there. Now the caves obviously get increasingly more and more complex, and you eventually sort of find other sort of styles of bad guy to beat. There's obviously an awful lot of Boulder Dash clones, and if you're interested in seeing a video of some Boulder Dash clones, then please by all means let me know, and also shout out some actual names of games that I can cover. Obviously there's Repton for the Repton games for the BBC Micro, but I also want to include Tourmaline from Retro Souls for the ZX Spectrum, and also any other ones there might be, because I'm aware it's a kind of genre that was incredibly popular. Oh dear, running out of diamonds. Where? Come on, diamonds, where are you? Yeah, so I'm really sort of quite interested to sort of see what those things are like. Sorry, what those other games are like. And I've discussed clone games before anyway, so it would be good to see a few of them, I think, anyway. It's down to you lot, whatever you want. Now, have I uncovered enough diamonds yet to go to the exit? No, I haven't. You can see my clock is running down. This is a really sort of fun game, although it's quite sort of tricky at times. You've got to think, sort of, because the boulders will fall into any gaps that you create, which if you're standing right underneath them, they will land on your head, which is not a good thing. Right, there's a boulder there. No, there's not. There's a couple of diamonds there. Right, I've got an extra life there. Not sure yet if I'm down to 65 seconds left. I must have. Yeah, I must have uncovered it now. Yes, I have. Now I've got to be careful here. Right, yeah, that I don't block the exit like that. Really, really fun, enjoyable game. Now, the only thing that I've found to fault with it is this level. This is as far as I've got on the BBC Micro version, and as you can see, it's actually quite garish. And I'm not a huge fan of it. But, you know, it doesn't stop the game being playable, but it just makes things a little bit sort of difficult to see, I think. Unnecessarily so, I think, as well. But it's still playing really sort of well. This is what I mean, you know, I've got to sort of be thinking my way around this game now, against the time limit, so it really sort of does test you. Right, okay, come on. So, yeah, what was your first experience with Boulder Dash? And on what system? And which version out of all of these ones that you're going to see do you think is the superior one of the lot? But I have to say, oh, for God's sake, you twitbaz. Talking and playing at the same time, not my forte. But yeah, as you know, you'll also be seeing BBC Micro and... sorry, not BBC Micro, this is the BBC Micro version, isn't it? BBC Micro... So this is the BBC Micro version. Amstrad CPC, Commodore 64 and Spectrum versions of Boulder Dash. Just for comparison, really. I know it came out on a hell of a lot of systems. What versions that I've not mentioned are worth checking out. From watching a video of it last night, when I decided I was going to do this game, it seems like the Atari 8-bit computers versions are really good. Is that the case? Is that true? Or, you know, am I talking out my backside again there? It's not one that I've seen. MSX, did it come out on that? Right. Oh! I've got one men left. Right, okay, come on, Baz. Yeah, I'm not familiar with any of those other versions, or whether or not it came out on any of the 16-bit computers, the ST, Amigas, etc. Should really have done some research. Oh, I've got another life. Right, yes, come on. This is really, really enjoyable, though. I'm really, really having a good time with this. I always like any old excuse to fire up the BBC Micro, and this is just as good a reason as any, because it's, you know, not only is it an incredibly popular game, but it's really good fun. Oh, I've knackered that up, haven't I? I've got to go, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. You see what I mean? You've got to constantly, with this game, be thinking, 2 steps ahead. Now I've, oh, I thought I'd got myself stuck there. If I'm going to push that there, so you can push the blocks as well. On later levels, I believe, but I haven't seen them, that, oh, for fuck's sake, There are various other sort of items like baddies to destroy that you got to make the blocks drop on top of. Right, well that's the BBC Micro version of Boulder Dash, and I really enjoyed it. Really nice graphics, really lovely arcade style sound as ever on the BBC. Very playable. So let's move on. Okay, right, Boulder Dash for the Amstrad now. Let's have a look and see what this is like. I have been playing this for a short while. Right, okay, yep, I want that. Player 1 and keyboard. Now, let's see how it sort of fares. It seems to be exactly the same map as the BBC Micro version. Have played it for a few minutes, like I said. And you know what? First thoughts were that it looked a bit ropey. But I actually quite like this graphical style. It's really nice sounds coming out of the Amstrad for it. And oh, whoops a daisy! And it's really quite fun to play. The scrolling, oh, that's spacebar is pause. The scrolling's a little bit jerky, as you can see, or as you will see. But that doesn't really sort of detract from it at all. This is actually quite a good game. Like I said, or like I've said before, games like this are very simple, which means they're usually BAS-proof, but they're often fiendishly difficult. Now it's exactly the same layout as you've seen on the BBC Micro version there. All the same kind of things going on in it, same kind of map layout, so you'll be able to figure your way around it. Got an extra life there. It's really good. Not a bad version at all. I think as an Amstrad owner you'd have been quite happy to receive this version of what's this game? Boulder Dash, because it's easy to get into. As we go on through later mazes you'll see that it can be actually quite tricky. You are of course up against the time limit, but yeah, the graphics really nice. I like these this sort of colourful sort of scheme thing going on here and on this particular screen. I think it's really appealing. Now, Amstrad owners, your thoughts and memories of this game from back in the day. Right, I want to go that way, don't I? Now, if memory serves me right, there aren't any boulders or diamonds there to collect. So, we'll move up. It plays a really good zip as well. You'll see as the scrolling is a little bit off there, but it doesn't break the game at all. You know, it still remains really quite playable. Push that over there. Keyboard controls are really responsive, so that's good. You're not fighting against anything, which is always half the battle when you get a game that's tricky enough anyway and it's got bad controls. Right, so for God's sake, I'm gonna have to do that all over again. Oh my God, oh my days. Oh Baz, come on, what are you playing at? Right, yes, I've got to start all over again now. That sort of like twee little sound gets a bit irritating, I suppose, but that's the only sort of bad thing about the sound on this game that I could sort of find to mention anyway. Anything else would be sort of nitpicking really. Some really nice sort of deep booming sounds going on. Oh, I've buggered this up. No I haven't. Right, okay. Really good fun. Really good fun. And it's the kind of game, you know, that keep you sort of coming back to try and sort of like get a better score each time, to finish it a little bit quicker. Because you do obviously get time-related bonuses based on how you what, Baz? Yeah, based on how quickly you sort of manage to navigate your way around to the exit. There aren't any further that way, I don't think. No. So yeah, really good game. Come on, push it that way. That's it. Right, I think that means, I'm not sure what that means actually. Right, let's try and head to the exit now without spannering anything up. Oh yeah. So yeah, really quite impressed with this. Nice, simple design, fun game. As I've said today, it's the first time I've ever played Boulder Dash. I have played several clones of it before. In fact, the 2015, I think it was 2015, Retro Souls release for the ZX Spectrum Tourmaline is one of my favourite games of all time. It's absolutely fantastic. And I'll get round at some point to doing a video of all the different Boulder Dash clones. I was going to say Boulder Man there, because there are many, and some are good, some are great, and some are awful. Right, this one took me a bit of figuring out. Oh, just killed myself right at the same place there. Oh, I keep on pressing spacebar. Spacebar is paused. That's game over. Right, that's Bomb Jack. No, it's not Bomb Jack, is it? Oh, for God's sake, why have I got Bomb Jack on the brain today? This is Boulder Dash for the Amstrad. Now, like I say, Amstrad owners, please shout up with your memories of that particular version of the game. Anyone else who's a Boulder Dash fan and hasn't seen that, how you think it compares to your favoured version. And let's move on. Okay, here we go. Boulder Dash for the Commodore 64. Exactly the same game, same map layouts as the versions we've already seen, but let's have a look and see what it's like. Right, okay, so there we go. Now, it's a bit darker than the others. The same kind of sound effects, etc. Come on, in you come. Right, there we go. Right, yeah, it's a bit darker. I'm not sure if it's the TV that I'm using, but you know, oh dear, I'm having to play it with joystick, and I'm not great with joysticks. So let's see how far I can sort of get in this. But yeah, early impressions. Again, I've played it for about 10 minutes. It's just as playable as the other versions. I would say the scrolling is a lot smoother than certainly the Amstrad version. I've not tried the Spectrum version yet and see it. I thought it was good on the BBC Micro. But let's see, we've got one more version to go after this. Now yeah, the graphics are quite sort of muddy, they appear to be, but it's playing sort of really well. I mean, if it looks like it's going a little bit slow, that's me, not the game, because I'm not too good with joysticks. Oh, whoa, that was a close shave. But yeah, really good. Enjoying this, nice and simple. It'd be good for a sort of 10-minute blast. Ooh. And there's the exit. Yeah, this is not bad at all. Not bad at all. I'll only just show this level because they seem to be exactly the same across the versions. So there's no point sort of going a bit sort of further or trying to get a bit further in. It'll just make for an incredibly long and even more boring than it probably is already video. But yeah, this is classed as one of the sort of classic games, isn't it? One that passed me by back in the day, as I've said. But yeah, so far, out of the 3 versions so far, not a bad one, I don't believe. That means, you know, the Spectrum has got a lot of sticking up for itself to do in the next segment, which will be recorded via Spectaculator, because, as you know, my Spectrum's deaded. Right, this is... Right. There we go. So yeah, exactly the same sort of game, but just looks slightly different. Right, back down to the exit. There we go. Yeah, same kind of annoying noise there as it. Oh, blimey, look at this one. This one looks a bit like an explosion in a dung factory. Oh, come on, no, down. Down. That's it. But yeah, not playing bad. Oh, I've gone and... you dickhead. Right. Yeah, that was Boulder Dash for the Commodore 64. Really, really decent version of the game, that. Going to try the Spectrum version now, so that will be bringing up the rear. Like I say, I've never played it before. These are the first experiences on each system that I'm showing you today. So, let's get on with it. Okay, welcome back. Right, here we are with the ZX Spectrum version of Boulder Dash. Now, you'll see how it compares to the other three that you've already seen. Unfortunately, it's not great. The other three versions are really quite sort of playable. This is okay playability wise, I suppose, but if you look at the way that the game scrolls, it's actually horrendous, and it really at times takes a while for the screen to actually catch up with your character, and that sort of ruins the game really, and it's a shame because I really wanted to enjoy the Specky version. You know, it's not unplayable by a long stretch of the imagination. It's not the worst game there's ever been for the Spectrum, but compared to what you've seen before this segment, the BBC Micro, Amstrad CPC and Commodore 64 versions, this is you know, this is easily the one that's bringing up the rear out of the four, and there's no real point in sort of going over again what the sort of premise of the game is. The map is exactly the same layout as all the other versions, etc. The aim of the game is exactly the same as well, but you can just see that the sort of horrendous scrolling really sort of it takes an awful lot out of this game, and it's a shame. Like I say, I really did want to enjoy it. Anyway, I'm going to let the remainder of this segment play out. This was just to sort of show you what all the four versions were like. Right, let's head to the outro. Right, there we go. That's four versions of Boulder Dash, BBC. My wife is standing right there, staring at me from the serving hatch, and she's going like that. Go away, you silly woman. Stop it. Cow. Oh, right. If it's not cats or teenagers, it's my wife now. And my phone's going off as well. Fucking thing. Right, okay. Yeah, so what did I make of all those? Well, I really enjoyed the BBC Micro version. Go away. I really enjoyed the Amstrad version. I really enjoyed the Commodore 64 version. I did not enjoy the ZX Spectrum version, unfortunately. The scrolling on it was just all over the place. Very jerky. It took an awful lot of enjoyment out of the game. And it's a shame because, yeah, the graphics were a lot simpler and everything, but it would look like with a little bit more sort of care taken, it could have been a really good version. It's a shame. I don't know why it was that jerky. I'm not familiar with you know, the sort of strengths and weaknesses of hardware of the Spectrum, but the Amstrad version was also slightly jerky, but it didn't kill the game at all. It had a really nice graphical style to it, some really nice sounds. The BBC Micro, as ever, you know, puts up a very good fight. Stands up for itself really well. That's a very good version of the game. Commodore 64 version, although the graphics were a bit messy, sort of palette wise, it played really well. It scrolled really nicely, all the sort of sounds in the right place, etc. Boulder Dash would be a great 10-minute sort of pick up and play game, high score challenge game, speed run type game through each level, see how quickly you can sort of get through it. But really a good game overall. I'm pleased that I chose it because I did enjoy it, like I said, apart from the Spectrum version. Well, that's it really. If you like the video, please let me know. If you wish to subscribe, please do so. But if you do subscribe, as ever, please take the time to... Just doing it again. take the time to join in with the discussions, because that's what it's all about. Thank you ever so much. Have a great day. Goodbye.